Alright, the right fits. I'm fucking talking about Jews today. My friend Scott Elskis, he asked me to talk about Jews, so now I'm fucking talking about Jews. My last video got deleted because YouTube fucking sucks. We all know YouTube fucking sucks. Nothing anti-Semitic about this. He's Lithuanian, yeah, okay. You'd think I'm probably Jewish because I'm talking about Jews right now, but I'm not Jewish. Fuck no. I'm Irish and Italian. But I want to talk about, it doesn't matter, because me and my Lithuanian friend are both American, and Americans support the, let's say, harsh treatment of the Palestinians, maybe, that could lead to World War III via Iran. Yeah, so that's why I'm talking about this subject. And let me make it clear right now. Let me make it very clear right now. Israel is not the Jews. Israel does not speak for the Jews. The diaspora of the Jews is bigger outside of Israel than it is inside of Israel. Israel is a theocratic state in the Middle East that is semi-democratic. It is not a complete democracy at all. There are definitely different rules between Jews and Arabs, who are, especially the Arabs who are not Jewish. And then you can just take a look at the crackdown that they've been doing since the war started, how they've arrested anybody for normal-ass journalism. So once you're arresting journalists for journalism, you're not a democratic place, right? I mean, there are standards of norms that we have in America that if you don't follow, you're not democratic. And I hate to put America at like a supremacy level here, but I mean, yeah, we do a hell of a lot better than fucking Israel does right now, right? I mean, during wars that we get into, that's when we have all our leaks of everything. Granted, Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, not treated great right now. Hopefully it gets, well, Edward Snowden, there's no progress, but hopefully Julian Assange gets some reprieve quickly. He needs it. I want to talk about the Jews for a specific reason. I am a huge fan of history. And there are many Jewish people that play a large role in history, including my favorite, is he my favorite? I think he is my favorite. I hate to say he's my favorite. I used to say Richard Feynman was my favorite scientist, because I do love Richard Feynman. But Einstein's probably my favorite scientist, just because he's smarter than everyone ever thought. Yeah, I don't even want to say smarter. He was more creative than everyone ever thought. And to this day, we're actually making new theories from his theory. So, it's actually pretty crazy. What's going on with the war right now, right, has drawn a bit of a, let's say, a schism in the West, right? If you don't support the war, if you don't support Israel, you're anti-Semitic. If you do support Israel, if you do support the war, you're not anti-Semitic. That's not how it works, okay? In America, the vast majority of very Orthodox Jewish people believe it's actually a sin to establish an Israel before Christ has come back. Okay? This is a huge belief again amongst Orthodox. So you will see Orthodox marching with Palestinians, Orthodox Jews marching with Palestinians all the time. And I dare Netanyahu to call one of these rabbis an anti-Semite. Which, FYI, I just want to make everybody know, anti-Semite, a Semite is an Arab or a Jew. Okay? So, what the Israelis are doing is anti-Semitic because they're killing Semites that are Arabs, right? But what they've cleverly done is go, oh no, we're the only Semites on earth. You know, sons of Shem. We're the only sons of Shem. It's like, no, people actually know what that means and can actually learn history. So none of this shit is anti-Semitic. And shut up with your shit about your aggressive bombing of a different a country you said you would essentially take part in helping. Yeah, motherfuckers, you guys couldn't do that. Now you just bombed some Americans, some Australians, and so shit's getting real for you guys. And you guys just pulled out of one part in you guys pulled out of southern Gaza. I wonder why you guys pulled out of southern Gaza. Was it because your army shit? Was it because Hamas was kicking your ass? I think so. That would be my guess. And because as the Americans will tell you who have been through this stuff in demolition cities, it's extremely hard to fight. So I totally believe Hamas was kicking your ass, so you guys had to pull out. Okay, very sad for the Israelis, the Israelites, right? Not the Jews. You gotta distinguish those things. If you want to be anti-Israeli, whatever. I'm anti-Saudi. I don't think Saudi Arabia should be a theocracy. I'm anti-Iranian. I don't think they should be a theocracy. I'm I need another country that's a theocracy or something. North Korea, right? I'm anti-North Korea, right? Because their religion is their leader. Okay, this shit should be obvious. The Jews are not like this, right? So what happened, I'm going to give you a little history lesson, and here's where the fun part comes in, right? Okay, so, yes, it's true, the Israelites they didn't build the pyramids, that's almost definitely not true. But they were in the Middle East, like they are now, thousands of years ago, and then they got moved around by more powerful forces till they ended up in Europe. And that was the worst place they could have gone. Okay? And that's what gets us to today. Okay? That is what gets us to today, because the West obviously controls the world order and has for quite a long time. But it has controlled the world order for quite a long time. But people still see this stuff. And it's hard to see, right, a government that claims itself to be a democracy and a theocracy to be doing what it's doing. Most Jews, my guess is most Jews around the world are pretty appalled by Netanyahu. Everyone hates Netanyahu in Israel. He somehow conjured up the idea to the masses, though, that he should be in there for the rest of the war because he's the one who can save them from the rest of the Semites that are coming to get them. Like, it's just bullshit. I don't even know how these Israelis fall for it. I mean, I thought Jewish people were supposed to be like the smartest people on earth, right? Obviously not. They should have just gotten rid of Netanyahu. He's the one who had this debacle who let October 7th happen. Whenever that happens, when you're living... Netanyahu was in power for so long and couldn't create any peace deals. And then he lets an inflammation of people, a terrorist attack come in nothing happens to him. As long as he's at war, those Israelis, they're all behind him. It's crazy. I don't know if you know what the word Hezbollah means. Hezbollah in Yiddish means essentially propaganda, but propaganda to America mainly. That's what it does, because that's all they need. They just need us. As long as we support them, as long as we give them their weapons, they're okay. I can't stand it. Cannot stand it. But let me go back to the history real quick. So they got kicked out of Palestine, right? They had to go to other places, and they went to Europe, the worst place they could have gone. In fact, like from the even earlier than the 1500s, I think, up until like almost current time, there were these things called pogroms. These pogroms were, all they are is a nice word for killing Jews. And so in Russia, in England, in France, in Belgium, did it happen in Spain? I don't know if it happened in Spain. In Germany, believe it or not, you know what I mean? Yeah, they had these pogroms where they would just exterminate the neighborhoods of Jewish people. So that's what they did. And this happened from 1500 to almost recently, you could say. Okay. A lot of the people who were protecting them happened to be the Ottoman Empire, who were a lot of Semites or Arabs, because right now the news wants you to assume Semites is just Jews, right? But they were Semites, and they were protecting their brethren. Okay, this happened in Morocco. This happened in the Middle East while the Holocaust was going on. Like, I don't think people realize this. It was only the Ashkenazi Jews that were afflicted by the Holocaust, because what the fuck's the other sect of Jews? I forgot, you damn Arab Jews. What are your Arab Jews' name? Yeah. Ashkenazi and Sephardic. You Sephardic Jews were protected by the Semites, by the Muslims. And you guys know that, right? The Ottoman Empire. Well, the Ottoman Empire had been destroyed by them. But whatever it broke into after, I can't remember my history that well. Maybe it was still around. I thought it broke up after World War One, but still they were giving protection to the Jews. But the pogroms never happened in the Middle East. The pogroms happened. The mass killing of Jews happened where? In Europe. In Europe, the same places today that caused the mass killing of other people, right? We have the weapons. The French have the weapons. The Americans have the weapons. England has the weapons, right? So we have no problem. If you don't have the weapons, it's kind of hard to cause mass killing. But, you know, if you have let's say, an economy built around building missiles, yeah, you got to kill a lot of people, you know what I mean? It's part of the game. So that's where we're at now. During these pogroms, the ultimate pogrom happened. We all know what the ultimate pogrom was, right? The Holocaust. Okay? 6 million Jews killed. Probably at least. And a lot of gypsies. 20 million 20 to 30 million Russian soldiers killed. They did win the Second World War, not us, like we like to tell. So the pogrom is built up to this, right? And now, after the Second World War ends and we realize the atrocities that have happened, what happens? England comes in. England, the great country that will solve all issues, of course, right? Just like they did in the Americas, right? Well, what they did, one of the countries that did the pogroms to begin with, so notice at this time, all the during the war, okay, the U.S. shipped back Jews to Europe, okay? During the war, the West, right, as we'd call it now, they were not for Hitler's greatness, but they had no problem with the death and destruction of Jews. That's how it was. So, it was the West that committed the pogroms, the Holocaust, and the continuation of the Holocaust. Now, Germany got too big for its bridges, and obviously the rest of the West had to come in and kill it off. But that doesn't mean the West changed, right? So, what happens, right? No country in the West wants to accept the Jews. None of them. No one says, oh, World War II's over. We got to give the Jewish people a place to live. None of them did that. Nobody wanted, no European countries or the West wanted the Jews. And I don't mean South America, okay? I mean the U.S. and Canada and then Europe. No one wanted the Jews. So what happened? Britain at the time, because this is before the U.S. became the world empire. This is still when Britain has pretty much as much influence as the U.S. They go, we'll just give you a piece of the Middle East. That's literally what happens, right? And a lot of the Jews are like, fuck yeah, we'll make it happen. We'll do it here. This is our holy land, which is a crazy thought. Like fucking God is a real estate agent when he needs your place to be in one place. I mean, your own religion says that's not true. Zionist Christians believe Jews need to be there so Christ can come back and kill like 90% of you. So that's like very anti-Semitic. And a lot of Christian Zionists in America are extremely anti-Semitic. You'll never hear that because they fund all the AIPAC stuff, but they're very anti-Semitic. That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene will say there's Jewish space lasers in the sky, but then also support the bombing of Palestinians. Okay, so I'm going to finish the history off there, and I'm just going to talk about some of the historians that we need to talk about. Einstein was rabidly anti-Zionist, okay? He realized we need to become part of the culture. We don't need to create our own thing that's distinct from the world that maybe some people will accept and some people won't accept. No. I mean, you look at New York and you could say, oh, New York's Jewish, and you can be like, oh, that's funny, like you're being, I don't know, racist against New York, like they're all Jewish. It's like, no, of course they're not all Jewish. But there's a huge presence of Jews in New York. They have a safe haven there, okay? We have not had a history of pogroms in the U.S. I truly believe the U.S. is the safest place for Jews, personally. Now, these famous people like Einstein who are anti-Zionist, this anti-Zionist movement goes back to when it was started during World War II. Shit, I'm trying to think of some of the more scientists back then who were just like, who were for or against it, and none come off my mind as I'm talking. But I know Einstein had debates with his colleagues, because a lot of the Germans, Einstein was German, and obviously he could stay there longer than any other Jew because he's Einstein. But eventually they declared his math, Jewish math, and not real. There were debates between the Jewish secularists, and what happened was, I think this is what I think really happened. The Jewish secularists came down to the point, some of the Jewish secularists came down to the point, we have no other way other than forming our own state, that Britain, the one who did the pogroms, right? So why would you trust them? They're putting you in a place that causes war. Either way, they took the land, whatever. They had much more peaceful places to go, but they took that piece of land. And now we see what's going on, I'm really just trying to expose that what's going on in Israel has nothing to do with Judaism. That's the whole point of this video. Okay? It's the whole point of this video. Most extremely Jewish. So, if you're a Jewish secularist, I don't consider you Jewish. If you're a Jewish convert to another religion, I don't consider you Jewish. If you're a Jewish atheist, you're not a Jew to me. I'm not one of those I'm not one of those blood people. I could take your blood and see what religion you are. I'm not one of those motherfuckers, right? That let us into some bad. Whatever you claim you are, that's what your religion can be, okay? And right now, we're headed down a place where Israel has convinced a lot of, not much in Europe, but more so in the United States, that Israel are Jews. All the Jews. They represent the Jews. Israel represents the Jews. That's bullshit. Okay? That's bullshit. That should be obvious. Netanyahu is not even a Jew. Yes, by blood. If you want to go by that eugenics, eugenics intelligence, yes, by blood, he's a Jew. Yeah, his mom was a Jew, so he's a Jew, right? He's all fucking stupid. No, he's not a Jew because he didn't practice anything that goes along with the Jewish faith, okay? So what we have to do is realize, okay, that not only do people in Israel have a different viewpoint than Jews, but that Israel does not determine what being Jewish means. I can't stand how they do that. So, I hope you guys learned something. Please give me a shout out. Do whatever you guys do. Love you guys. Peace.